Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday. It feels like, I don't know, Monday. I'm so confused since the holiday. Hope you're doing well out there. This morning, we're going to talk about self-sabotage, such a big subject with so many people. So how you doing this weekend? Got any big plans out there shopping? Stay away from that stuff. I haven't been shopping on after Thanksgiving in years. I certainly don't miss that. But if that's your thing, I hope you're out there having a good time. So, like I said, we're going to go into self-sabotage today. Everybody does it. Most people do anyway. And most people don't even realize that they're doing it. So if I was to ask you, have you ever engaged in that kind of behavior? What would you say? Do you feel unmotivated a lot when you're about to do something important? Or maybe you sometimes think that you're just not good enough to achieve your goals. If you answer yes to any of those questions, then you are exhibiting signs that you are self-sabotaging. You are making it so hard on yourself to achieve happiness. In fact, it's almost impossible. This is the act of your conscience getting in the way of your intent. Listen again. It's the act of your conscience getting in the way of your intent, and it disrupts you and defeats you from being able to reach your purpose. The relationship that people develop with success and failure is often really complicated. Especially it depends on how you were brought up. Self-sabotage happens when your subconscious mind interferes with your rational, conscious mind. Now, it is possible for you to have a conflict between intention and commitment. And that can disrupt you, and that can defeat your purpose. This subconscious behavior can hold you back in life. It can even turn into a repetitive cycle that can cause you to feel ultimately discouraged and unfulfilled. For instance, you try so hard to work out at the gym for hours, but you can't fight the urge to eat the cake when you get home. Or you tell yourself you'll be saving money from now on, and you end up buying the brand new iPhone. There are so many ways that we self-sabotage through overeating because of stress, procrastinating because of a deadline, drinking alcohol to get away from our problems, and so much more. I'm going to talk with you today about some signs of self-sabotaging behavior because, as always, bringing awareness to something is the biggest thing that you can do, because most of these things can't hold up to the scrutiny when you drag them into the light. So I want to talk today about how you can stop from engaging in these types of behaviors, and in turn, you'll be able to live a happier and a healthier life. But first, I want to discuss some of the reasons why people self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is a really challenging behavior to overcome because it's built over time. And it's really hard to break the patterns when you don't practice self-care. So here are some things that you may tell yourself that lead to self-sabotaging behavior. Do you ever say, I don't deserve this? You feel like you don't deserve the good things happening in your life. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Maybe you believe you don't deserve an award or a degree and that the other people deserve it more. Or you may not think you deserve to be in a happy marriage or relationship because you don't think you're good enough for your partner. You may assume they'll end the relationship with you at some point anyway, so you might as well end it first. This could be because of past mistakes that you're unable to forgive, your past mistakes. Have you ever heard of the title imposter syndrome? Most people have at this point. It's becoming such a hot button topic. But this phenomenon describes the feeling of being undeserving of your success. Despite any clear evidence, people who have imposter syndrome are convinced that they're frauds and they've not earned their achievements. Instead, they attribute their success to luck or their ability to deceive everyone into thinking they're smarter than they believe that they are. It's so powerful. So many people suffer with that. And I know I had that as well for so many years. And as my success started to increase, Finally, I just confronted myself. I was tired of feeling insecure and unworthy, because that doubt does nothing but prevent us from becoming the best version of ourselves, us 2.0. Questioning whether or not what you have earned is justified, or always thinking that someone else could do something better, is self-sabotage. What about, I can't control this? Do you ever say that? Before you actually try, you already tell yourself that you might not be able to control the situation. It's like overthinking sometimes because you're afraid to fail. This negative mindset comes from being used to assuming the worst, and it often leads to negative consequences. When you're only willing to consider the things that could go wrong, you are just going through the motions of life. Instead, you have to practice living in the moment and overcoming those hurdles as they are presented to you. It's so much easier to get over them when you take them hurdle by hurdle instead of waiting for the end. Can I do this? You ever say that? You step back a little because you're afraid of how hard you're going to hit the ground once you fall, once you fail. However, if you don't practice failing, you'll never take the risks that ultimately pay off. When I was 19, I dropped out of college. One day I just realized I could not do it. This was not for me. And I'm not saying anything about education. It's fantastic. But for me, it wasn't the right thing. And I'll tell you, telling your parents you're dropping out of college, you're going to go on the road, become an entertainer. Think how well that went over, right? And my dad disowned me for a long time. But you know what? Sometimes there are those choices you have to make for you. You can't make them for everyone else. So yeah, I went through a year or two where relations were strained. But you know what? When I started earning more money than him, then he was much more accepting. You have to practice failing. And those parents out there that try to protect their children from everything, you're doing them a disservice. You are crippling those kids because you're not allowing them to be able to have the ability to take any risks whatsoever. The moment that any fear creeps up, they retreat. That's no life. Trying to protect yourself or the ones you care about from failure or disappointment is such a huge obstacle to following through on things. It keeps you from pursuing what you really want in your life, whether in your relationships or in your career. Sometimes being complacent is simply a sign of self-preservation. Do you ever say, it was my fault, I did this? People do that instead of analyzing the problem. Instead of checking what went wrong, immediately we blame ourselves for our incapability. There's a huge difference between I failed because I didn't try and I failed because I'm worthless. Blaming yourself for something that went wrong is one way of giving yourself an out. So you don't have to persevere. You don't have to do the necessary work to reach your final goal. Like Tony Robbins says, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. You got to be all in. Instead, you're telling yourself you've already messed up. You've already failed in some way. You're setting yourself up. Whether you actually mean it or not, this negative expression of blaming yourself creates impressions on your subconscious mind. You've been doing that your entire life, and it's that subconscious mind that's destroying your happiness, that's keeping you from your joy. Because as these thoughts accumulate, they will eventually lead to a point where you start to truly believe what you're thinking is real, and then it's over because you've created your belief patterns, and those are the patterns that are destroying your life. What about this? Do you say, this is already okay? You don't want to get out of your comfort zone because you prefer consistency over satisfaction. We do. We prefer consistency over satisfaction. Your comfort zone is just a mindset where you're not necessarily happy about things, but it isn't bad enough to put forth the energy to do something about it. By staying behind the invisible lines of your comfort zone, you're able to stick to what you already know, engaging in the same patterns over and over. Hence, you limit yourself You forget about new possibilities and new opportunities. You refrain from putting your potential to work for you. Now, one that I hear a lot, I hear people say a lot, and it sounds so innocuous and so like it just can't have, it's just such a simple thing. I'm bored. It's unforgivable, but sometimes self-sabotage comes out of sheer boredom. The truth is, you may self-sabotage just for the purpose of pushing someone's buttons. For example, you start a fight with your partner and you incite drama just so you can have a rush. How many people do that just so they can make up? Sabotaging yourself may offer you the familiar chaotic feeling of instability, but it becomes a feeling of stability because you're used to it. We do it because we can't help but question ourselves. But it all boils down to one main reason: the fear of failure. Now that you know the things you may be telling yourself if you're self-sabotaging, remember, I'm bored. This is already okay. It was my fault. Can I do this? I can't control this. If you find yourself saying those things to yourself, you are self-sabotaging. So now that we have talked about those, we have given you the signs of this destructive behavior. It's cancerous. It's eating us alive. Now let's talk about how you can put an end to it. So what can you do? What can you do today? Well, self-criticism. There's that voice in your head. I call it the bitchy roommate, right? That fills you with self-doubt. It makes you think you're not good enough. So you end up not believing in yourself and losing your self-worth. If you find yourself making excuses for why you can't be, do, or have the things you want, it means that you're too critical of yourself. Self-criticism may also cause you to ignore your accomplishments and lack any sense of pride. If you obsess over the past or constantly tell yourself that you haven't achieved enough in your life or that your success is irrelevant compared to that of other people, then you'll be stuck feeling like you lack as a person. If you can't accept compliments, it's a sure sign that you've fallen into the trap of giving yourself too much self-criticism. Because if you don't believe in yourself, you're going to self-sabotage in order to be able to put a concrete reason behind your failure. So how do you stop? Well, turn that self-criticism into self-reward. Turn that self-criticism into self-compassion. Don't think about your mistakes. Instead, think of the things that you've done right. You can choose to focus on the good things that you do and the things you can be proud of, even if they seem small. Be kind to yourself and always remember that even if people make mistakes, they can still be forgiven. Every day, write down at least 5 things that you're grateful for about yourself. Compliment yourself. Whenever you find yourself thinking about what you haven't done well, refer back to those positive truths about who you are and the ways in which you add value to this world. Recognize even your smallest success and take the compliments that other people give you to heart. Negativity. How many of you see yourselves here? You don't see the beauty in the world, and you always have a negative comment about everything. We have that inherent negativity bias, but people who self-sabotage are much more likely to express this negativity. This turns into accepting self-judgments and abuse that you would not so easily accept from other people. These negative thoughts turn into hopeless and defeated feelings, which further promote the cycle of self-sabotage. Negativity can lead to lingering feelings of dissatisfaction and disappointment. It can also lead other people to not want to be around you. So if you're negative, if you're one of those negative people, how do you stop? Well, first thing you can do is shut up and keep your observations to yourself. Negativity affects the spirit. It's like a virus that can bring down a positive soul. You got to be more appreciative. You got to try to see things in a more positive light. And this isn't just airy-fairy motivational speaker bullshit. This is truth, my friends. By fighting negativity with a neutral approach, even better yet, a positive approach, you can dramatically improve your relationship with yourself and with the people around you. Control those emotions. Even making small, simple changes in your attitude and behavior will help you gradually transition from a negative to neutral and eventually positive outlook that will transform your life. Now, what about procrastination? You wait until the problem gets worse before you deal with it, or you'd rather chill out and enjoy unrewarding things before you work on something you need to finish by a certain deadline. Regularly procrastinating is a sign that you're self-sabotaging. I was so bad at this, procrastinating. Even back when I was in school, you'd have weeks and weeks to do a project, and the night before you're cramming in and you're stressed out of your mind and you're not sleeping. Remember, what may have seemed harmless and universal back then has a much greater impact now as adults, because as adults, procrastination is about more than just being lazy. It's a sign you're avoiding something bigger, something like change or failure. Or if you're a perfectionist, you may procrastinate to keep yourself from making mistakes. So how do you stop procrastinating? We all do it. Well, stop and think about what you are really putting off or avoiding when you're procrastinating. Think beyond, I just don't feel like doing this right now. For example, if you're procrastinating when starting a big work project and the deadline is approaching, maybe the project seems beyond your scope of competence and you're avoiding taking responsibility for figuring out how to do it. Once you pinpoint whatever's holding you back, you can combat those negative thoughts. The key to avoiding procrastination is self-discipline. So just take baby steps and set achievable goals every day. And remember, be the policeman of your mind. Guard your thoughts. Self-doubt triggers self-sabotage. Look for the red flags. Are you disorganized? This is always related to procrastination. When one aspect of your life is in chaos, everything follows. It affects your health, your work, your relationships. Planning and decision-making require conscious effort. So, if you're disorganized, you don't know what to do, take a look at yourself. How do you manage your time? Is it because you're being overwhelmed by the things around you? That sense of overwhelm can easily lead to a desire to procrastinate even more. Declutter if it helps and remove the unwanted baggage. Organize everything piece by creating a plan and making sure you execute it. You can organize the way you work to make yourself more efficient, get more accomplished in a shorter period of time. Being organized will make you feel in control of your life. It will reduce the need to self-sabotage. How about overindulgence? I know about this one too. I'm one of those people who has a personality, addictive personality. So overeating was a problem for me. Getting wasted used to be a problem for me. Substance abuse used to be a problem for me. Binge watching, all of that. Do you see yourself there? Anything you do in excess to avoid unpleasant feelings is a sign you're self-sabotaging. These become your escape from all the stress and the anxiety and all those negative feelings that we just can't deal with. You may recognize that you tend to overindulge if you always turn to the same unhealthy stress reliever when you're going through a tough time, or if you crave things in an unhealthy way. When I was a kid, I would stress out. I'd eat I would eat a box of Blueberry or Frankenberry or some sugary cereal, a box. You play that game where you pour some in the bowl, you put in the milk, then you have to add more milk, a little more cereal. And by the time you're finished, the cereal's gone. Most of the time, these things like this, they set you back. They prevent you from achieving your success even more. It gets you farther and farther away from where you want to be. So how do you stop overindulging? Well, a great way is to just be mindful. Like for eating, for instance, do you know how mindless eating is, especially snacking? We don't even realize what we're eating. If you would just step back and be self-aware and mindful, you're aware of your behavior then. You start to see when it happens. You start to realize the underlying emotions that come before it. Why do you feel the need to overindulge? Your friends or your feelings are your friends. Your feelings are your friends, but we treat our feelings like they're our enemies. Instead, acknowledge them, but don't let them overwhelm you. It's okay to sink into your emotions sometimes, but don't make it a habit. Make sure that you still know how to get back on track. What about this one? This is big with a lot of people. Are you someone who initiates conflict? Now, this may link back to telling yourself that you're bored, but in these circumstances, you either suddenly push people away or you start picking a fight with them. You either want to get back into that comfort zone or you're experiencing a fear of hurt or rejection. And remember, even a comfort zone of chaos is comfortable. You feel like it'd be better to cause the argument and initiate the conflict rather than wait for them to hurt your feelings. Think about how screwed up that is. It helps you maintain control, though, right, over your relationship. You're showing the other person that you're making the decisions about their role in your life, even if in the end that means pushing them away. So how do you stop initiating conflict? Having open and honest communication with the people around you is mission critical. However, you need to practice self-control to avoid having regrets in the end. Whenever you feel the urge to start a confrontation or push someone away, take a step back and rethink it. Ask yourself, what are you feeling and why are you feeling it? That way, you won't end up doing something you're going to regret later. Cultivate the connections that you have with people and clearly express what you want or don't want out of the relationship to the other person. Allow them to be open with you in return. Notice if you ever feel like they want to abandon the relationship and allow those feelings to sit for a while. Recognize that the feelings are there, but focus on what feels right about the relationship instead. Comparisons. So huge. Do you find yourself comparing yourself to other people and then noticing the things they have that you don't? Comparison is the worst. It will never motivate you to do more or be better. It will only make you feel like you can't be good enough. As a result, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You feel bad, you stop believing in yourself. When there is competition, comparison, really that can't be. No two people are the same. They have the same strengths and weaknesses. You need to be competing against yourself, the earlier version of you. So how do you stop comparing yourself to other people? Well, think of the positive qualities that describe you as a person. Remind yourself of these traits that you possess every day until they sink in. Writing things down, journaling is important. I do it every day as part of my morning and evening practices. Writing down the qualities that you like about yourself. Some people, most people, find it so hard to look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself. Write down things that you're proud of about yourself. But like anything, it gets easier with repeated use. When you start comparing yourself to other people, notice the things you have in common instead of what's different. Or better yet, consider the things that you have that the other person doesn't. It just takes a flip, a small shift of mindset here. And finally, this is the biggest one of all, I think, questioning your purpose. People who self-sabotage always ask themselves their purpose. What is my purpose in life? They feel worthless. They feel inadequate. So their self-esteem suffers. Everyone has some purpose in life. And now is the time to notice yours. So how do you stop questioning your purpose? Again, it may help to list your goals for the future. Write them down. What do you want? What things do you want to be remembered by? This way you can start finding your purpose by living the life you've dreamed of. Think about the things you want to contribute to the world. You can create a statement of purpose for yourself. You can read it on a regular basis. Making contributions or doing service in those areas of your community can also help you feel a sense of purpose. In today's video, I talked about the reasons and the signs of self-sabotaging behavior. We've learned that it can affect you in so many ways. It can make your life completely miserable. But I gave you the tips on how to stop this behavior. Hopefully, what I've told you here today can help and inspire you to become a better version of yourself, you 2.0, and ultimately a happier person, a happier spiritual being, having a human adventure. If you've not joined our Facebook community, first of all, why not? Because you should. We are a fantastic group. We're a family of like-minded people. We're banded together. We are helping, supporting, empowering each other, giving you the tools you need to transform your life, to dust off those dreams and take them out of the mothballs and the dusty recesses of your mind and reset your goals and start living the life you were meant to live. It's a free community. It's a family. We'd love to have you. Facebook.com/groups/students of self-empowerment. Don't forget as well to join our subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have over 300 videos. There's something for everyone, no matter where you are on your journey. It's youtube.com/BrentWebbOfficial. We're lacking in subscribers, my friends. We got to hit 1,000 to monetize. We spend hours a day cultivating, creating content in the community, our Facebook community, in the YouTube channel. So please help us. You can do that by subscribing. It's youtube.com/BrentWebbOfficial. And it's almost the holiday season. It's almost upon us. So this year, instead of giving dad an ugly tie and mom another bottle of perfume, why not give the gift of self-empowerment, the gift of personal development, the greatest gift of all, the gift of transformation. No material thing you can ever give anyone is going to have the impact of transformation. Change isn't enough. The butterfly can't go back and become the caterpillar because it's transformed. That's what we're going for. If you're looking for something for someone you care about, how about a mindset reset, my one-on-one coaching program? We work together, 6 months together, once a week, 45 minutes. We spend on a Zoom call that is recorded, and we take your goals, your dreams, we infuse them with new energy, new power, and we move them forward in your life, and we get you closer to the goalpost of where you want to be. It's a fantastic interactive program. It's not a cookie cutter program that's made the same for everyone. We go deep. This is a very, very, it's not for everyone. And if you wanted some more information, go to my website. You can apply to work with me. If it's a good fit, we'll talk more about it. But it's life-changing. It's transformative. My life has changed. Our clients' lives have changed. I've watched thousands of people all over the world transform. Take it from someone who's done it. Take it from someone whose clients have done it. Don't believe every guru you hear that's giving you recycled advice and things they've never tried. Everything that we talk about in our community, my website, and our group is proven. And it's being proven now. It has been proven in the past. It will continue to be proven in the future. You need something that works. You need to get control of your life. You need to stop living your life for someone else. Go to BrentWebb.com. If you'd like some one of my ebooks or courses, you can go to BrentWebb.com/shop. So I'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of Mind Power Secrets. We're trying to do a video every single day. So sometimes we'll do the Mind Power Minute. Sometimes it's Mind Power Secrets. Sometimes it might be themed on something completely different. But we're trying to give you the information you need to transform your life. It's time. It's time to make the change. I want to thank you for joining me today. I certainly appreciate it. I want you to go out and enjoy yourself today, no matter where you are. Just remember, you're alive and well. Don't worry. Be happy and feel good. I'll see you tomorrow.